Hey, K-Mag, it's Aussie Villain. Yeah, look, mate, I just wanted to congratulate you again on a stunning win in Zandvoort. Yeah, mate, not many can say they've gone last or first in an F1 race. Yeah, but look, I know that you're a showman, but how about we make things a little bit more boring from now on and we just don't drop down from where we start? You want to be the entertainer. Hey guys, I'm Aussie Villain and welcome back to Kicking Haas. And after our glorious 1-4 finish, it was so nearly a 1-2, wasn't it? Last time out at the Dutch Grand Prix, it was a dream race for us. We could not have asked for any more. Last to first for K-Mag. Today we have the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, and the track could hardly be any different to the Zandvoort track. So whether we're going to be as competitive here or not, we're going to find out soon. But, well, let's hope so, because that was glorious, wasn't it? Really, really enjoyed that. Now, things to update you on. Our weather center is in poor condition. We have refurbished it, but it's not going to be as accurate for the next little while. Hopefully, we're going to have a dry weekend this weekend. And the other thing that has happened is that our suspension simulator upgrade has been completed. So that is here in time for next year's car to be researched. So when we do get around to doing the suspension, or the brake cooling anyway, I don't know if it's just going to be suspension. I'm assuming so. That would make sense for a suspension simulator, wouldn't it? Anyway, we're going to have that available to us, which is excellent news. Now, if we go and have a look at the drivers, Logan Sargeant has a development point that we can use. Now, there was a comment about moving it his smoothness and adaptability up. Now, adaptability is just for poor weather on track. We do need to do it at some point. I don't know if we're quite... I've got him where I want him everywhere else. And smoothness is just to enable him to do longer stints on each tyre. Now, again, I would like to be able to do that, and someone should turn my phone off, shouldn't they? But I think what we'll do instead is we'll stick it in control for now. We'll get that up to 75, and then I think, I don't know what, ideally, I'd like all of these, the sort of the top 5 attributes there to be at least 80, and then start and work on things like adaptability and smoothness, because I'd rather than be fast and accurate and have good control on that, and then look to sort of work on the other things perhaps that make a driver go from being a good driver to a potential world champion. So that is Logan Sargeant. K-Mag has nothing, and neither does Jack Crawford, which is a little bit unusual. Staff attributes, I don't think anybody has anything, did they? I forgot to check before starting recording. No. So that brings us to the race weekend. So we know the Monza track. Of course, the race is going to be rainy when the weather center is down. Bloody, you can't make it up, can you? Anyway, there we go. So there's the track. Let's have a little bit closer look at it. We can see the sectors there for qualifying: red sector 1, blue sector 2, yellow sector 3. Sections by speed. It's basically fast with 2 traction zones. That is Monza. Car attributes. We know top speed is not our greatest attribute in the car, and I think for next season, I don't think we have the budget to be able to do or the ability to be able to do sort of a Monza-specific rear wing, like, you know, the big teams will do, Red Bull, Ferrari, probably Mercedes as well. So, yeah, we're just kind of where we are on that one. Average time loss. Now, if you can get a virtual safety car or a safety car stop, it knocks, 12 seconds off the pit stop, so that is definitely worth doing. Expected strategies, it's going to be a one-stop, it's just a matter of how you work it, and the compound performance we can see there, the loss per lap, and the difference in lap time. The difference in lap time is very, very minimal, isn't it, really? So it may not be a race to go and do a second stop at the end for soft tyres, note to self. Last year's race, K-Mag came in 8th, Sargeant in 12th, and well, let's go and see what our performance targets are for the weekend. Qualifying position of both cars in the top 12, reach Q3. I mean, I would hope we would be able to reach Q3, but I'm not as confident this weekend, just because I know how much our car lacks in a straight line. And then we've got, if we finish, what we've got to do, both drivers in the top 14 here will get 1.1 million, and the qualifying streak is 1 car in the top 14, which we should be able to do. So that's all looking very, very good. Let's head off to Monza, and well, we're entering Ferrari zone here, aren't we? So confirmation of the weather, and it's moderate rain as well, so that's going to be potentially intermediates and wets. That's really the one race. How you couldn't make it up, could you? Anyway, I'm going to do free practice. I'll see you for qualifying, and like I say, just hope that our car is competitive here. All right, so we have done free practice. Let's have a look and see how we did. Now, FP1, I forgot to change out the engine parts for old parts. So we had Sargeant up there in 8th, which is fine. You'll notice a lot of penalties for cars in the midfield. Crawford was down there in 16th as well, which is not ideal, but he's still learning. This is just about getting experience for him. If we go to FP2, the cars did have the older parts in for this one. K-Mag 11th, Logan Sargeant 15th, albeit his best time only on a medium tyre. And then FP3... where are we here? I've lost us. Are we down? That's why we haven't got to us yet. So it was 14th and 15th on the medium tyre as well. So not ideal, but as I say, we're going to put some fresh engine parts in, which makes a lot of a difference around Monza. There's a part of me looking at how many penalties are in that midfield and wondering if this might be a good race for us to take them as well, given that it's not our greatest track and it's going to be wet as well. But we'll wait and see where we qualify before we do that, I think. Now, let's have a look here. You can see both cars 100% on the setup. So we'll add in the nice new beefy engine parts here. Actually, we'll go with the parts in the best condition because they should have the most power, shouldn't they? And we'll get out there and hopefully Sargent's going to have to take a gearbox penalty before the end of the season, I think. So it might be a case of, well, as I said, we'll just wait and see exactly where we pull up here. We might need to take some engine parts with K-Mag as well, mightn't we? But yeah, we'll just wait and see exactly where we get to here. And let's go with a fresh run. That can be our race gearbox and go from there. But Q1 should be fine. So hopefully that's the case. And indeed, Q1 was absolutely fine. We had to do a second run with K-Mag. He got badly blocked through the Ascari chicane on his first attempt. So he was right on the bubble. But as you can see, not a problem in the world. And in fact, we might be a little bit more in this race than I previously thought. Okay, so we are coming around to start our second run of Q2. Now, I sort of lost the back of him. I've tried to send Magnussen out in front of Sargeant to give him a draft, but you can see we've kind of lost the back of him here. Now, you can see on the times that Magnussen is 4th, Sargeant is 8th. He's only, a 10th inside the top 10, though, so it's very much far from being safe. And I just didn't quite get close enough to K-Mag on that opening lap. So there's on the warm-up lap, I should say. Just dropped back a little bit too far, perhaps. Magnussen does have a bit of a gap in front of him. He's done a green first sector, a yellow second sector. Sargeant is not going any quicker here. And Sargeant is right on the bubble. He's going to be okay. There's no one behind him that can knock him out, but he's not done a particularly good lap here, considering he's on a new set of tyres as well. He does go up to 9th, though. So both cars successfully through. K-Mag 5th, Sargeant 9th. Let's go and do Q3. Okay, so we are coming around to start our lap of our second run, I should say, in Q2. We've got Magnussen behind Sargeant. Now, Sargeant is a little bit quicker right now. Now, the reason for that is K-Mag only had one set of new tyres. So I sent him out in front of Sargeant on the first run to try and give Sargeant a bit of a tow because he had two sets of new tyres just because he didn't have to. Oh, K-Mag's gone purple in Sector 1. Now, we're not at the very back as well, which is worth noting. I did kind of mess that up a little bit. But is K-Mag getting the nice tow from Sargeant here, about to get towed up into the front row. He's only done a green second sector. Sargeant's done a green second sector as well. Nobody else has done a purple sector, though. So let's see what K-Mag can do. Can he finish off this lap? Can he get onto the front row of the grid? There's the checkered flag. Sargeant stays 4th. Magnussen goes 3rd behind the Red Bulls. Is anybody else going to go ahead of us? Hamilton and Alonso to come, and it doesn't look like they've come out. So it's 3rd and 5th. So there we go. No penalties that are going to affect us because everybody with a penalty is already behind us anyway. So really good position to start this race in. Much, much better than I expected. Wet weather to come, though, of course. So, strategy. Now, we're starting with clear skies. Now, the one thing the rain's not coming till the end of the race. So that's interesting. The one thing I've thought about the rain thing, because I know we're complaining about it a lot. So it said it's going to be moderate rain. So the forecast is light, moderate, and heavy rain. So I'm thinking what is probably happening is that if it's moderate rain, so this might be considered inter, and then that is definitely wet. So the gauge, where I may be missing something, is the fact that the weather says light, which is probably just inter, moderate, which is probably in between the two, and heavy, which is wet. So that's what I'm thinking. Where I might be messing things up. Now the question is, can we eliminate a pit stop by getting to the rain on one set of tyres? Now, to do that, we're going to have to do it on a hard, it looks like. Is that something we want to do? A pit stop is quite expensive here, isn't it? So it probably is. Now, the other issue we're going to have is we come back to what is the weather here. Am I wrong in thinking that that is inters and not wet. It looks like it's going to be inters to me. It's going to go wet for a period, and then you're probably going to have to come back in onto inters. The question is, can you hang it out for lap, say lap 42 to lap 50? It's 8 laps. Probably not. It's probably going to be a case of needing to come in, put on wet, and then maybe go back to inters, unless you can maybe hang it out on inters till the end. So this is roughly when I think the rain's coming, isn't it? Roughly lap, it's at 35, 34. So if we schedule to come in somewhere around there and then see how the race develops, we'll need to do something similar with K-Mag, because can he get a medium tyre that far? I don't think it's worth the risk, is it? We'll be able to push a little bit harder on a hard tyre as well. I mean, we can almost push hard the whole way and get to the rain. So that's definitely something worth remembering. So it's going to be a wet end to the race, more so than a wet start to the race. So, yeah, well, let's see what we can do here. This is going to be an interesting one. Okay, welcome back. We have... Is that a Haas on the front row? Whoa, 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 I've missed something there. That's K-Mag on the front row, isn't it? We started second and fourth. Someone's taken a penalty. And... well, the Ferrari's gone straight past us. Now, how's everybody else on tyres here? There's a soft-tyred running Red Bull that's gone... So Verstappen must have taken a penalty.
It's not over for us.
I mean, we're the only one on hard tyres. Presumably, we're the only ones that's going to get to the rain without making another stop. So we might take a little bit of early pain here, but if we can get to the DRS with still being in touch with these front cars, then I think it's going to be difficult to pull away. It always is, you know, with the DRS. If your car is somewhat competitive, it's difficult to pull away, because the DRS down this straight, down the front straight, just keeps sucking you back up to the back of them. So it's third and fifth. We might be able to get a move done on Max here. We don't really need to. Oh, Max has got a little wide there, has he? And we've got one more lap before DRS. Verstappen's done the fastest lap. It means absolutely nothing early on here. Now, of course, the one thing, too, is that fastest lap is going to be done early on in the race here, because if there's rain at the end, no one's going to be going any faster. K-Mag is all over the back of the front two, Leclerc and Perez. And they're both on the medium tyre. They could maybe get to the end. Or to the rain, I should say, on a medium. We saw K-Mag, it was very marginal. He wasn't quite going to get there with any pace. If he'd conserved tyres, perhaps. But what this does now is we've sort of taken the pain of getting off the line slowly. We're still in a pretty good position. And we'll go back to neutral now, because we're going to run out of battery anyway. We'll push on the tyres, particularly with K-Mag, and just try and stay with these guys now as long as possible. There is DRS being activated. And Sargeant is still right there as well. This is promising. Let's not get carried away. A long, long way to go yet.
Fastest lap.
Okay, so we've got fastest lap for Sargeant now in second, but Verstappen, and I'm assuming therefore some other soft tyre runners, are going to start coming in. So, I mean, Verstappen's 2-stopping when we're 1-stopping. We're sitting in behind Leclerc. There's a little bit of a gap behind us. Sargeant, just momentarily took the lead. Magnussen's now set the fastest lap of the race, and like I say, we don't want to get too excited here. There's a few mistakes. Oh, Sargeant has just spun. Logan.
I think there's been a lock-up.
What are you doing with your life, mate? Oh, that is so frustrating. Back to 6th. It's not the end of the world.
Now just focus on the Haas.
And he's spun out of the lead of the race. Just got a little bit too excited on the gas. And there we go. Magnussen's run wide. Oh, Jesus Christ. It all goes wrong at the same time. He's got damage as well, I think. So he goes back to 4th. What? I don't know if he's injured. Damaged even. Underfloor minor damage. Guys, you kill me. I do my best. Give you a car. Put you in a position to win a race. And this is how you thank me. Alright, so I've had a moment to calm down. It's still on. Everybody else is going to have to stop before the rain. We're hoping, obviously, not to have to do that. So, I just need to relax for a moment. Yes, we've made mistakes. Yes, it's cost us being at the front of the field, but If we go and look at tyre wear, everybody else is roughly the same tyre wear as us. We've been pushing on a little bit, which we've now stopped doing. So yeah, our tyres should last longer. We should start and see that that percentage sort of push back again in our favour. But
Red Bull gained the
it's still... maybe they are going to get there. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're still in a good position here. We're still in a good position. Okay, so we are expecting rain in 4 laps' time. I think that's our sign to go a little bit more aggressive on the tyres. 4 laps. Did I say 4 laps? 4 minutes' time. We can see it up there. So we're sitting 5th and 6th right now. And it's not quite gone perfectly to plan in that, well, Bottas is coming to the pits early. So he was second. Pit window is now entered. Now, what tyre does Bottas put on? I mean, that's a horrible time to stop. You've just got... I mean,
That's a new race position
I guess, you imagine that they can see he's gone for a soft tyre. I mean, he'll probably get the fastest lap of the race. You imagine he will just be going flat out. But, yeah, that's not ideal. I'm not too worried about the petrol because when it's wet, we've got a yellow flag. A safety car right now would be perfect because we could come in, put on the intermediate tyre.
car run wide.
It's just Vettel running wide, though, so that's not going to help us. And, well, 2 minutes till rain. The clock is ticking. I don't want to obviously come in and... oh, well, sorry, I should say, I want to stay in this view, so the second that it starts to rain, we can make a decision what we want to do. I'm a little bit nervous that this is going to sort of lead us down the wrong path again, but to me that looks like it should be intermediate, right? And then we go to wet above that. So we're going to have to come in for intermediates as K-Mag puts a move, does he, on Perez to go back up to second. Even with the damaged underfloor, of course, we're a minute away. Are we going to get rain this lap? No. So I'm imagining next lap is going to be the one. Sargeant is past the pit entrance as well now. And a bit of a DRS overtake there on Magnussen. We're just patiently waiting. Of course, our weather center not ideal. And here comes the rain. So this lap will be the one. I'll just pause it. I know you can't pause it in real life, but just gives me a chance to tell everybody what we need to do. So that's that on his car. Expected to come out in 16th for Logan Sargeant. K-Mag will, of course, also be coming in. And onto the Inter. Hopefully it's right this time. I can't... Yeah, I mean, we'll keep an eye on what anybody else puts on if anybody else comes in before us. But you suspect that the front, we're sort of at the front of the race, so we're going to be the first cars to come in. Now, the Inters are expected to make it to the end quite comfortably, aren't they? So, we don't have to worry about tyre wear. Will other cars go an extra lap here, I wonder? It's not quite wet enough, but it's going to be wet enough by the time we get around. So, Alonso has come in. We're double stacking. There should be a big enough gap. Yeah, so out in 2.8. 2.8 as well. So that's worked out very nicely indeed. Hopefully everybody else is putting on Inters. Alonso's put on Inters. So hopefully we've got that right. It's not quite wet yet. So we'll keep an eye on the front runners here. So Leclerc and Perez, which is where we were. Are they going to get around without the track have gone to wet conditions? And then Hamilton's gone to a wet tyre, which makes me nervous. So we could have pushed it another lap. Look at that. We could have pushed it another lap. Are they coming in this lap? Leclerc, yes, they are. And the track's actually drying out a little bit now. So, I mean, it's still technically dry tyres, but everybody is in. So we could have actually made up some time here, perhaps, by not coming into the pits, which is frustrating. Yeah, where have they come out? So, okay, so Magnussen has got ahead of Perez in all this. There's the lead of the race. So that would suggest that, because Red Bull's pit stop almost certainly is going to be faster than ours, that would suggest then that, and the track is now wet, that it was actually Inters were the right choice of tyre. But now you have to be on an Inter. Now what we don't want it is to do is go to wet straight away. Both the Mercedes are on a wet tyre, so if this stays out, it's going to completely screw their race. And that can only then be a good thing for us. No DRS, of course, now the track is wet. Alright, we are getting to the point where we're getting dangerously close to a wet track. If we go and have a look here, so we've sort of got through the worst of it. So the track is not going to go wet, according to our weather station. There is about 10 laps to go. K-Mag is currently third, right in this battle for the lead. Sargeant is just sort of in his own place in sixth. The Mercedes are running 18th and 19th. They've completely destroyed their race by going onto a wet tyre. And, well, let's go and jump on board here and see what we can do in terms of, getting ourselves to the front of this race. Alonso in front. I'd like to think that we could beat an Alpine, but Alonso is quite good, isn't he? Sargeant is still very much in no man's land. He's got sort of 9 seconds in front of Verstappen, 6 seconds behind. Unless he makes a mistake, which is always a chance, as we've lapped a Mercedes. That's always nice to say, isn't it? Unless he makes a mistake, he will finish this race in 6th. We've just lost a little bit of time there with K-Mag, though, to the front two. Now, the issue that we have is we've got Perez right behind us and Verstappen closing as well. But the issue that we have is no DRS, which means I can't really harvest the battery to make up, to get some back, because we're just going to lose out down the straights. So we're kind of just down to natural car pace. The only saving grace, perhaps, is that if the track is wet, our straight line deficit will be a little bit hidden by that fact, as we've got a little bit of traffic working in our favour this time. We're right back behind Alonso now. That's actually worked out for Leclerc in front. Is a Ferrari. Oh, no, 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 no. K-Mag. Don't stop. Oh, he goes back to 5th. He does have the underfloor damage. Is that going to have been a major factor in that? But instead of a podium, it's now very much... He was looking to overtake. So in a way, I'm a little bit more okay with that. If you make a mistake going to overtake, that's better, obviously, than just making a mistake. But that has put us 4 seconds now behind that lead group. And you fear a little bit this is just going to be now a cruise to the finish. The only thing that could maybe... it looks like it's going to get wet towards the end again now. So that weather forecast has changed. Oh, K-Mag. So we're on the last lap. It's it's always a quick race, Monza, but this has been a particularly quick one because our grandstand finish was somewhat ruined by Magnussen locking up. To be honest, if you had told me before this race we'll come 5th and 6th, I would have absolutely snapped your hand off for it. Leclerc in a Ferrari has won. Alonso is 2nd, which is a bit of a turn up. But Magnussen comes 5th, and if we go back, Logan Sargeant will come across in 6th. That's good solid points, and more crucially perhaps, Mercedes and Alfa Romeo have scored nothing. So, as I said, a solid result that maybe could have been a little bit better. We've dropped down the grid, but yeah, I mean, Verstappen, Alonso's the one. I would have liked to have thought we could have beaten him. But anyway, that is what it is. The Drivers' Championship, K-Mag stays just nailed on in his 4th position, drops further behind 3rd and pulls out on 5th. To be fair, if he's beating a Ferrari, that's not bad, is it? Logan Sargeant consolidates his place there in 9th. Be nice if we could get him ahead of maybe Bottas and Ocon by the end of the year up there in 7th, but we'll see how that goes. And the constructors, it's a good day for us. It really is. We've pulled out points on Mercedes. Alpine have moved up into 5th, but they're a long, long way behind us. It's sort of consolidating in that 3rd place, isn't it? But there we go. That is it for today. Could have been more. Could have been better. Arguably should have been better. K-Mag making a couple of mistakes and somehow gets a development point out of that as well. But yeah, there we go. Good day overall. Like I say, at the start of I would have taken that. I wasn't sure that this was going to suit our car. But if you've enjoyed that, thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you next time. I think the next race might be Singapore, and if it is, tight, twisty track should suit our car again. So hopefully we'll be on for some podiums or really good finishes there. Until then, guys, take care.